Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who episode review. In today's video, sorry, my dog's just playing just off camera. In today's video, I am talking about the latest TV episode of Doctor Who to be aired, which is, of course, Revolution of the Daleks, which aired 4 days ago on New Year's Day 2021. So I have my little crib sheet of some notes that I made when I watched the episode for a second time. And yeah, so first impressions, I really enjoyed it. This is probably the most I've enjoyed an episode of Doctor Who since Twice Upon a Time, or maybe even World Enough in Time. I just really enjoyed it. It had such a Doctor Who feel to it, which I know it's a rubbish way of describing it, but it really did just feel like Doctor Who to me. So I'll go through my list and we'll see what we get. So first of all, yeah, it was really good. It was epic. It clearly had a high budget because the CGI in it looked brilliant, has to be said. It was actually surprisingly emotional. Going into this story, my dog is eating her lunch, so going into this story, knowing that Bradley and Tosin were going to leave, I wasn't really expecting much, only because I haven't really connected with either of their characters. But when it came to their departure scene at the very end, it was actually surprisingly emotional, and it was really profound, actually. I was hoping, or betting, I should say, that one of them would die. But actually, given the subject matter and how it was handled, I'm glad that they both lived. And it was actually really sad. Especially that scene where the Doctor says, "Bye, fam." I've hated that term, but it worked in that context. And of course, we shouldn't be surprised that it was quite emotional, purely because Chris Chibnall does have a history of writing out really emotional scenes for characters. His last scene that he wrote writing out characters was Owen and Tosh in Torchwood Series 2. And that nearly made me cry. So, you know, that's the sort of thing that we should come to expect from him. Also, everything in the prison was great. I really enjoyed all of that stuff with the Doctor in prison. It was really well done, actually. The music, the way it was shot, everything. Including the amazing cameos by some of the villains from the past. So the Sycorax, the Silence, the Ood, the Pating, and the Weeping Angels, of course. That was brilliant, and I really wasn't expecting that, and that was a lovely, lovely little bit of fan service, which might not be to everyone's taste, but I really enjoyed. If I had any criticisms about that, it's that the Doctor wasn't in prison long enough. Even though we do get that she's been in there a long time, I do feel like it could have maybe done with being a bit longer. You know, she spent a bit longer in prison just to really get that sense that she's been in there a hell of a long time. Also, I really enjoyed how it followed on from Resolution. I, like most people, did that thing on New Year's Day of watching Resolution at a sort of lunchtime. I watched it in anticipation of Revolution later that day, and I really enjoyed it, actually. As a sort of two-parter, it really worked, and especially because the opening scene of Revolution was a carry-on from Resolution. It was really good, I thought, and it's a nice bit of continuity. I've already mentioned music. The music in this story was brilliant. Has to be said, I haven't always warmed to Segan Akinola's score for Doctor Who, only because I'm much more of a sort of Murray Gold fan. I like the sort of big, bombastic, operatic music that Doctor Who has had, and this came very close to it, has to be said, and I absolutely adore his Dalek theme. It's brilliant. And of course, moving on from music, the biggest drawing point that this story had was the incredibly welcome return of John Barrowman as Captain Jack. And he was brilliant. He always is. He stole the show in every scene he was in. And it's like he's never been away, even though I find it amazing to think that it's been 11 years or 10 years since he was last seen on screen. 11 years since he was last seen in Doctor Who, and 10 years since the last episode of Torchwood. So he was just brilliant. There's nothing else that I can really say about John Barrowman other than he was brilliant. Any criticisms, he's not in it enough. I would have liked for him to have had a bit more to do. And as well, there was no departure scene for him. It did seem as if it was done mostly in sort of ADR, which is a bit of a shame, but I can see why they wanted to do it that way, to give a bit more time to the departure of Graham and Ryan. And as well, it was lovely to get that little Gwen Cooper reference, which, that was nice. As a Torchwood fan, that I like that. Also, Jack Robertson returned, which I think a character that nobody really wanted to return after Arachnids in the UK, but it has to be said, I didn't mind him. He's still not my favourite character, but I felt like Chris Noth had a bit more to do in this one. He suited the characters of the Daleks a bit more than he did giant spiders. And yeah, he was alright. I do think he should have died, but yeah, he was alright. Also, the action. The action sequences in this story was brilliant. We had Daleks that killed people left, right and centre. That's exactly what we've wanted to see from Daleks for a long time now. Barring Resolution, the last time that we saw Daleks properly kill people was in Into the Dalek, which was in 2014, which is 7 years old now, which is just insane. And as well, on the subject of Daleks, we have the brand new defence drone Daleks, which the design has been a bit controversial, but given the context of the story and them being man-made Daleks, I really liked them. I thought they looked brilliant. They're not taking over as the predominant Dalek design, and I'm glad of that, but as a one-off design, they really do work well. And of course, this story saw the return of the Bronze Daleks, and they looked absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best looks that the Daleks have ever had, the Bronze look, and it's one of the best appearances that they've had in my eyes, and it's the appearance that's made them look great. Oh, the sun's just... If I just tilt there we go. I'm having to sit a bit further forward because the sun will get in my eyes otherwise. But the Bronze Daleks looked great, and there were some just brilliant scenes with the Daleks in, and I really liked it. As well, the Daleks had a new attachment. Gone was the plunger, and in its place was a nice claw, which, yeah, serves its purpose. Not entirely sure what it does, but that was cool. Yeah, Jodie Whittaker's great. I particularly like the scenes with her in the prison. She was really good in them scenes. Also, the scenes where she was facing off against Daleks, that was great. And one of my personal favourite scenes in that story was the little heart-to-heart that her and Ryan have. I just thought it was really cool and really sort of heartfelt, and definitely one of her best moments as the Doctor in my eyes. Also, I've already touched on this, but the CGI in this story was brilliant. You can clearly tell that lockdown has had some positive effects in that it's given the editors and the visual effects guys on Doctor Who a bit more time to work on this story. And there was CGI everywhere, especially towards the end, but also in the prison with the chevrons that passed the Doctor and the jail bars. And yeah, it was just really, really good. And especially towards the end with the Dalek armies flying everywhere and the Dalek saucer. Really cool. It looked so good. And the end, of course, it was wonderfully silly, which I think gave it a bit more validity that it was Doctor Who to me. Because Doctor Who doesn't have to be serious all the time. It can be a bit silly. That scene of the Daleks going through the TARDIS and all being inside the spare TARDIS, that was really silly but really good as well. I personally really enjoyed it. That's it really. There's not a lot to say about it. It's a very sort of simple story. Humans make Daleks. Daleks exterminate impure Daleks. That's it really. But it's a nice, good New Year's Day romp. And that's exactly what you sort of want from a festive Doctor Who. You don't want it to be too sad, you don't want it to be too silly, but I think this story just hit the nail right on the head with finding that balance. And as well, I think that, and this is entirely my opinion, I think this has been one of Jodie's best stories yet. It's certainly up there with Spyfall, Fugitive of the Jadoon, and The Haunting of Villa Diodati as one of my favourite Jodie Whittaker stories. So there we go, guys. Out of 10, I would give this story an 8 out of 10. There are a couple of places where I think it could have been improved, But on the whole, I really enjoyed it, and it was just nice to have Doctor Who back on TV, even if it was only for 75 minutes. But it's going to be back later this year, and I can't wait. Now it's put me back in that sort of Doctor Who mood, which I think was needed because we had so long between Series 12 and Revolution. It's mad to think that Series 12 aired over a year ago now, but also it feels like yesterday. But of course, so much has happened in between with COVID and lockdown and another lockdown, and so much has happened. It was just nice to have a bit of escapism for an hour and sit down and watch a really good Doctor Who story. So there we go, guys. There's my review of Revolution of the Daleks. Let me know what you think of the story down in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you do, that's fine, of course. But yeah, let me know. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you again soon. I might do some more episode reviews to fill the time between now and Series 13. So if you have any stories that you would like me to review, be it New Who or Classic Who, do let me know in the comments below and I'll see what I can do. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.